Greetings, peace and blessings. The Muhammad's here. We're out and about here in Nairobi, Kenya, one of our favorite spots, right here at the Sarit Center. And we enjoy ourselves as always, but you know, here's the beautiful thing about being out and about in Nairobi. You get a chance to come across some really, really wonderful people. And we are in the midst of some really, really wonderful people, one of which is one of our beautiful subscribers who we communicate with on our live. And he brought with him a very special individual who is a Kenyan, and he does kind of what we do too, right? So let us show you our good new dear friend.
Well known in these Kenyan streets.
He's rolling these Kenyan streets. So let us show you who we got with us, all right? Y'all know this guy. It's our new good friend Evan from Kenya. And
YouTube channel, Evans from Kenya.
Evans from Kenya. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. He gives a really good special attention to we the diasporas as we make our way here to Africa, and he does a really good job of representing his country, Kenya. But we have always had a question for him. My wife always had a question for him. She's going to ask him this question here, and so we'll see what he gives us as a response.
A couple questions. First one, why the diaspora?
The diaspora, African diaspora.
The African diaspora.
I believe me and you are one people. I don't see any difference because my partner, my fiance, we almost share the same color. Family people are light skinned, and so I can't really see color in between us. What I see is a kidnapped African. Now she's back home and he's back home. Yeah. And I think there's a lot to this. You know, it's been 400 years, 400 plus years since the first slave ship. Have you been to Ghana?
No.
You should go to Ghana.
Okay.
And see Ghana for yourself.
Sure.
The first slave ship left Ghana in 400 years ago. And these slave ships carried with them African slaves, you know. It's true, there was slavery even before the white man came, but we can't deny the fact that slavery has existed before time, before slavery existed of the transatlantic trade. Africans were taken, and they were taken all the way to a place called Virginia. I've never been to Virginia before.
Yeah. It's still Confederacy.
Yes. There is where the first slaves were taken. Other slaves were taken all the way to South America. Other slaves were taken in the Caribbean. What they call themselves West Indies. And these are all terminologies that have been brought about by the oppressor, you know. And me talking about African Americans is like inviting them back home. It's like talking to my own brother, or talking to my own sister, or talking to my own dad, mom, grandma, granddad. I don't see no rift. Of course, I won't deny there is the business part of it, but it's not for business. It's because the love I have for African Americans. And
Let me ask you though, so this information you have about the diaspora, did you get that in school or did you do your own research? What sparked this interest?
Good question. We are taught, first of all, he told you I have a degree.
Right.
I have a degree in English and literature. Okay. You know, literature, we are taught where it came from, how it evolved, the evolution. We have the Renaissance age, we have the Victorian age, we have the contemporary.
Right.
We have all that, you know. So I studied some form of Canadian literature. I studied some form of American literature written by Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Is it Mark Twain?
Yeah, Mark Twain.
Yeah. He has another name different from that. The book.
Tom Sawyer.
Oh no, Orwell.
Yeah.
George Orwell. Yeah.
Yeah, the American Farm video.
To my Animal Farm or?
Yeah, Animal Farm where it depicts corruption and all
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So me watching these videos on African diaspora, the literature, it sparked something, you know. You know, maybe you might not know this, but I have studied in Kenya, did everything in Kenya till now. I've never left this country. I've only gone to Uganda. So during our primary school, during our nursery, I studied the 844. Right now it's been changed. It's the CBC. The
Right.
844 has been dismantled. It
Okay.
had some problems.
Okay.
Now, before the 844, you have the secondary school where you are taught nursery rhymes. These rhymes are borrowed from European people. Remember, Kenya was colonized by the British.
That's right.
So there's a lot we've borrowed from them. We enter the 8 years of primary education. At class 6, we are introduced into Eastern Africa. Now we leave Kenya, we get into Eastern Africa. In class 7, we get into Africa. You see how
It
Right,
took
it
7
broadened.
years to get it.
it's going as it expands.
Right.
Now we leave that, we enter secondary school, we enter Africa and the African diaspora. We include people like W.E. Du Bois.
Yeah.
We include people like Malcolm X.
Okay.
Also, Marcus Garvey of Jamaica.
Right.
Also, we talk about Pan-Africanism
Okay.
and how Africans found themselves there. So I've grown up. with
So
all
you
these-
learned this in school.
Not the entire thing, but the seed was right now.
Right.
See, yeah.
Right now, when I look back, I see where it all came from.
Right.
Maybe I just stumbled on something, but the seed was already planted. It was now germinating, you know?
Sure. This is public school?
Yeah, public school.
It's very interesting. That's big.
Some public schools, main public schools are not good in Kenya, but some of them are good. Some, which is a few. But you know, minority don't make the rule. Almost all public schools are not good.
My man.
But that is how it started.
That's
Knowing about it from school and later on university, came to learn about Caribbean literature, African diaspora, how African literature has been all around the world, Islamic literature, European literature, Asian, it's called the one which is written by the Persians, Islamic literature, all that, where you get the book, this book which was written, I don't know who wrote the book, it's called 1001 Nights.
oh, Arabian Nights? No.
Yes, but now we call it Alfu Lela Ulela au Siku Elfu na Moja. That's the translation of the Arabian Nights.
Oh, okay.
Au Siku Elfu na Moja.
Wow.
So I started reading this book and I developed passion of the outside world at the age of 6, not 6. At the age of 10, 11, I was reading maps, knowing maps. I knew of a very small island called the island of Vanuatu. So many people don't know that island exists.
I don't either.
You can even stand there and ask anyone. A few will answer you that. The exact position, Sao Tome and Principe, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Cuba. We are taught about Cuba. We are taught about communism in Kenyan high schools. It is taught, it's there in the syllabus. African Americans are taught in Kenyan high school. It's not something that I came up with. If everyone was to talk about African Americans, it's everyone in Kenyan high school or everyone who passed through that.
Right.
So you know, on our
Wow.
we've talked about this on the channel, and a lot of Kenyans and a lot of Africans all over, they tell us they didn't know about us. That is not taught in high school. That is not taught in the school system. They just think that we are black people in America. But the thought of how they got there never comes. They never knew. Especially in Rwanda, all over everywhere that we talk to different people, they say they didn't know. They don't know about us.
Okay.
So this is new for me to hear.
But it's refreshing to hear this.
Yeah.
You see, sister might be having something. She's right. You see, in Kenyan high schools, once, remember what I told you about 844? When you reach class 6, you are introduced to Kenya and East Africa, and then Eastern Africa. Class 7, you are introduced to Africa. Now you are talking about Africa. We mostly talk about the sub-Saharan Africa, and there's one particular country is in the northern Africa. We don't talk about those Arab countries mostly.
Okay, right.
We only talk about Egypt, because Egypt, there was this leader
Right.
called Jamal
Yes.
Abdel Nasser.
Nasser, yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
He created the Suez Canal.
Right.
So she might be right that many people don't know it, because once you enter high school, a lot of people are taught, you are given option. There's geography, there's history, and then there's CRE or IRA, Christian Religious Education, or Islamic Religious Education. So you can choose either of these three.
Oh, okay.
So you see, once people have been given the choice to choose, they not everyone will do history.
I understand.
And then it's now taught in history. You get me?
Sure.
So history is where we get all this.
I see.
The history of black.
So how do you feel about us requesting or wanting to be able to come home without having to pay for visas, without having to petition to try to get citizenship? Many of us want to come home and be welcomed as a citizen. But a lot of locals say that's not right. And you can't do that, and a whole lot of other stuff. How do you feel about that? Do you think we should be able to just come home and claim citizenship and fall right in as a brother and a sister in your country?
You know, I noticed you said the word home. You don't need permission to go home. The prodigal son, if you are, I understand you have the name Muhammad, so it's my immediate guess you are Muslims.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you something about the prodigal son. It's a parable. Huh? He told his father, "Father, give me my money. I want all my money right now." His father was very rich. His father had many sons. He gave the son, "Son, here is your portion. Go and enjoy yourself. And please don't come back because you've taken your share." He went to some foreign land, spent the money on women, drinks, wasted all until he started sleeping with the pigs. He started eating food with the pigs. He said, "No, I'm tired of this. My father is very rich. My father is very rich. In fact, he has workers who are working for me." So one time he was fed up with all this eating pig food, and he decided, "Come on, I'm returning home to my rich father." He came home. He was surprised to see his father welcomed him. He thought he was dying out of the family, but
Right.
no, the father welcomed him.
Right.
This parable is likened to the African Americans. I'm not saying this because I want to make you too happy or to make grandma happy. No. I believe in honesty. Though it's not like I'm perfect, I'm very far from it.
Sure.
So,
That's beautiful, brother. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm almost
so
emotional.
the thing goes this way. Even if I can't invite Mr. Carlos to my house, what makes you think I will invite him to my compound? I don't think he's a threat. That is because I don't know him. I don't know Mr. Carlos. It's very hard to invite someone we don't know. I had to create some kind of relationship with Mr. Carlos.
Right.
He really just, I'm looking for a home in YouTube, in Kenya. Let me check out. We find the name Evans, and he is from Kenya. I'm gonna go to his house. No, I wouldn't allow. So, depends on the relationship you have. This relationship creates familiarity. And because myself, I understand that African Americans are from here. It's not about the pigmentation, no. We have African Americans way lighter, way lighter. But there is a certain gene inside them that is African,
Yes.
you know? And then there is African American very dark, very dark. And then there's an African very light, very light. If you bring the two here, if you bring the darkest African American here and the lightest African, I'll say these are Africans by their hair, and I'll accept them. So the Berlin Conference is something that was made to divide. You know, the divide and conquer policy.
Absolutely.
The divide and once there's no unity between you, it's easy to attack.
That's right.
That is what they exploited. They exploited that weakness, or they created the weakness and built it. Right now, it's very hard for an African American to say, "I'm going to Africa." He will say, "I'm going to a particular African country." He will say, "I'm going to Ghana, I'm going to Niger." Maybe in the past there was no Ghana. There was just a huge landmass
Right.
with an ocean beside it,
Right.
and people would scatter everywhere. So to answer your question, African Americans should and they have the right to move back to Africa. Your skin color does not matter. Your hair texture, your level of education, how much wealth you have accumulated. You have to come home because home is where you belong. 400 years ago, your ancestor and your ancestor were here, man. Remember the parable of the prodigal son.
My man, couldn't have been said any better. It comes directly from our beloved brother, right here from the continent, right here from Kenya. Said it so very eloquently,
How old are
with
you?
such passion
How old are you?
and sincerity, and we love him. We're grateful.
He's a young brother. He
He's
don't
a
want
young
to tell us
brother.
his age, but he's studied.
He studies,
He's knowledgeable.
right?
And he understands that this is home.
This is home. We same. African Americans and Africans, we same. We home. And he did the most generous thing. He welcomed. He didn't just talk the talk. He walked the talk, because he had been communicating, as he mentioned, building a relationship with one of our own. And it's even deeper than that. You know what I mean? Because he even has an additional culture with him as well. And so he opened himself up to receive one from American soil, that he could have a beautiful, smooth, wonderful transition coming back home. And so, man, I salute you. I really salute you, my friend.
It's okay.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, not for just doing an interview, but you're almost reaching out and you're trying to get those that are stolen people, and you're welcoming us back.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for that. At this young age, you don't want to tell me what it is, but I know it's young.
20s,
You're in the 20s.
20.
almost 29.
He's a baby.
All right.
29 years, 28 years. He's done more for the diaspora on this continent than some of those in leadership. Just by saying, this is your home.
Peace and blessings.